And I know just the tune to accompany them, if you wish to hear it. Time to go!
Gundafar, we are in the middle of a war. Your place is at the front lines by my son's side.
A matter of utmost importance, Your Majesty, such that I'm...
Huh. Outdoor theater. Looks fun. Ah, yes. Here's what I was thinking about given that the acting Grand Master saw fit to allocate these funds to my trip in the first place, I think it's, in other words, what do you say we find a way to spend the remaining budget? Perhaps a fancy meal at a nice restaurant? Or a river cruise that takes in the sights of Sumeru City? Or we could buy a few nice mementos to take home. Hey, no need to put it like that. Let's keep walking. We can consider... The rules of the Knights of Favonius state that any and all expenditures during a business trip are counted as travel expenses. That's more than enough justification to live a little. Of course, with me being here on my own, it was looking like a wasted opportunity. But now that I've run into you, why don't we make this a joint trip?
What you see is what we've got. Feel free to go.
You're always so busy. It's high time you gave yourself a proper break. Even the sharpest blade loses its edge if it's always in use. Regular maintenance is essential for reliable performance. And anyway, life is short, so we should make the most of the time we have. Right now is the perfect time to relax and enjoy ourselves. And who knows how many other chances we'll get. So come on, what do you say? Great. Music to my ears. I'll cover the travel costs, of course. There's nothing more enjoyable than the company of a good friend. Let's call this a nice little excursion to round off my long business trip. Now, let me think where we should go. I've seen a lot of Sumeru already, so let's go for someplace new. How about Liyue? I'd be heading past there on my way back to Mondstadt anyway, so it's not out of the way. Well, lucky me. I'll hold you to that. Liyue's Ministry of Civil Affairs frequently corresponds with the Knights of Favonius, so the address on their letterhead is one of the few places I'm familiar with. I don't have much luggage, so it won't take me long to pack. Give me a moment, and then we'll head there together. I've heard that there's lots to see and do in Liyue, but I'm sure you're more familiar with the place than I am, so I'll leave the itinerary to you. Great. Maybe you can tell me about your previous travels here along the way. It's such a satisfying feeling to just drop everything, go on a long trip, and see something new. Who knows who we might cross paths with? We might even end up going on an impromptu adventure. Just like how I met you in Port Ormos, and now we're here. Come on, let's see what's up ahead. Do you know this shop? It looks pretty nice from the outside. Shall we take a look?
Welcome to Mingxing Jewelry. We are a long-established trader of precious stones. Is there anything in particular you're looking for?
Let me see. Ah, some nice jewelry you've got here. Maybe I can grab something with a local flavor as a souvenir. What do you think, traveler? See anything that suits my style? I trust your judgment.
Ah, you're interested in souvenirs. If you're struggling to decide, you might want to consider getting some jade. You can't go wrong with a nice jade pendant. They're an elegant addition to your look, whatever your age or gender. If you're looking for a specific design, we can make it to your specifications. It does take some time to fulfill an order, however. High-quality jade is hard to come by, so our waiting list is at least a couple of weeks.
Oh, that's a pity. I'm just visiting and I won't be in town for very long. So as much as it pains me to do so, I'm afraid I'll have to leave this beautiful bijou behind.
No worries at all, sir. If you're looking for something off the shelf, why not go and see Mr. Shurto at the Jade Mystery? He also deals in jade and precious stones. Exactly. But on that note, let me give you a word of advice. There's no risk in purchasing a piece of jade that's already been cut. But you could lose all of your mora betting on uncut rocks. I won't say any more, as I don't want my fellow vendors to think I'm bad-mouthing them. But I think you catch my drift. It's only human nature to spend a little when you're on a trip, but don't be too hasty to part with your cash. The Ministry of Civil Affairs takes everyone's economic well-being very seriously, and they often send out the Millilith to spread public awareness of well-known scams. As guests here, I'd encourage you to watch out for anyone trying to rip you off.
I think that's sound advice wherever you go into that. We appreciate it, boss.
Welcome! Looking for uncut stones or pre-cut jade? We've got plenty of both for your viewing pleasure.
Uncut stones. Ah yes, we were just briefed on that. Let's take a look at the pre-cut jade.
I believe I detect a quiet but distinct tone of apprehension in your words. Please rest assured, there's nothing to be quite so wary about with my business. Feel free to peruse at your leisure. I think you'll find that everything I do here is entirely above board and legitimate, and I sell only pure and unadulterated goods. No scam guaranteed. Sure, you can bet on jade and lose if you're unlucky, but that doesn't make it a scam. My terms are clear and transparent, and I only do business with willing customers. What scammer can claim that?
Sounds perfectly reasonable. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much the vendor is charging. If the customer decides to hand over their money, they're taking the bait of their own free will.
Yes, exactly. I'm glad you understand. Although your peculiar phrasing at the end there, you almost make it sound as if I really am scamming people. Anyway, betting on jade is what it is. Feel free to try your luck, but if you can't afford to lose, then it's not for you. We don't need to cause each other any trouble. I'll leave you to browse at your own pace now while I deal with other potential customers.
Amber-colored jade would probably make for a good souvenir. Why not? This is a quirky little place. Somehow, I'm inclined to entertain him for a bit. Well, if you're not interested, then I guess we'll pass.
Ahoy there, Captain! Fancy seeing you back in town. Struck any gold lately?
What, a poor sailor like me? You must be joking. I barely managed to make ends meet. What about you, Shurto? Still scamming people with your pile of rocks?
Hey! Keep your voice down. Can't you see I've got customers? But more to the point, when have you ever seen a customer get scammed in my store?
I mean, you want the full list? Or... Hold up. Is that... Captain Kaeya! What, brings you to Liyue?
Oh, just taking a short trip with my friend. It's been a while.
Yes, it's been a good while, hasn't it?
Anywhere you'd recommend I visit while I'm here?
Let me think. Wanmin Restaurant's always a pretty good bet. Chef Mao's daughter is a skilled chef, and their prices are very reasonable. My wife can't get enough of their boiled fish. You could give that a try. And, speaking of my wife, she won't let me forget what a great help you've been to us before. So thank you, on her behalf.
Your wife? Ah, yes. How is she doing these days?
Very well, thank you. Very well. Anyway, I've got something I need to do down at the South Wharf, so my apologies, Captain Kaeya, but I'd better get going.
All right. See you. Ah, I finally remembered who that was. Captain Wu. He runs a transport business between Mondstadt and Liyue.
I see. So you went through that whole conversation with no idea who you were talking to. Well, that explains the generic pleasantries and the general awkwardness. Old Wu's usually quite the chatterbox, so it's very unusual for him to just take off mid-conversation. How exactly do you two know each other anyway?
An educated guess. Yes, you could put it like that. It's pretty straightforward, honestly. The captain was making a delivery to Mondstadt when his ship sprang a leak. He overexerted himself fixing it and keeping the cargo dry, and ended up passing out from exhaustion.
Well, it still seems strange to me. Sure, he's hardly the most charming conversationalist, and he's also mighty. His eldest was once playing on that big rock over there, when he took a tumble and injured himself. I helped to patch the kid up, and the next day, old Wu was here to buy a couple of uncut stones. I'm just surprised he was so quick to excuse himself, that's all. Normally, he's the kind of guy who, if you run into him on the street and he owes—
Well, stubborn, I can believe. Someone had drilled a gaping hole in his ship, and the water was coming in fast. How he managed to—
Someone drilled a hole in his ship? Oh dear. It must have been one of the less savory captains out there trying to sabotage his business, so they can squeeze. His line of work isn't easy. The poor fellow usually has to set sail before the break of dawn. He's been loitering around a lot these past— Competition is fierce these days, and there's not a lot of mora to be made in shipping. So every day he stays idle is another negative. Anyway, I digress. We merchants protect our goods like our own lives, so who knows? Maybe he had some important cargo to see to.
I am an upstanding member of the Knights of Favonius, after all. Just look me in the eyes. Don't you find me trustworthy?
Since you asked about recommendations earlier, you're here from Mondstadt, yes? Might I suggest the tea house is somewhere to rest your legs? If memory serves, they're just about to retell the tale of Bravebeard the Valiant from the top. Why not pay them a visit?
Huh. Sounds interesting enough. Let's check it out.
Time to go.
So this is the Hu Tea House.
We meet again, Captain Kaeya. What a coincidence. Twice in one day. Oh, that didn't take me long, and I ran the whole way.
Wu, weren't you just at Wanwan Bookhouse buying a book for your daughter? What's this talk about the wharf?
Shh, just leave it be, Anjong. There's no need to embarrass him right in front of everyone else. I take it that you two aren't from around these parts. I'm a caravan guard by trade, and meeting people from all over the world is one of the main perks of the job for me. Why don't you join my table so we can get to know each other?
Oh, seems like the tea house is the place to be in Liyue. Feels like I'm back in the angel share. Did you manage to get something for your daughter just now, Captain Wu?
Yes, thank you. If it weren't for you, Captain Kaeya, she might not have even made it into this world.
I'm so lost, Wu. What's the story here?
Your wife's originally from Mondstadt, isn't she? Did you run into Captain Kaeya when you were there on business, or when you were visiting the in-laws?
The latter. Oh, this is so humiliating. Anyway, back when my wife was pregnant, we were taking a trip to Mondstadt.
Oh, that sounds awful. Were either of you hurt?
I mean, he's still here, and he's still got all his limbs, so they can't have roughed him up too bad. I'm guessing Captain Kaeya...
Yes, he did. Thankfully, he heard my wife crying for help and drove them away. My wife was injured and quite shaken up by the ordeal. So he...
So what happened?
I was in the water.
Huh? What did you jump in the water for? You know they can still get you in there, right?
No, that's not... They threw me into the water and, stripped me of all my clothes.
They did what? Did they have a weird fetish or something? Stripping a sailor naked and throwing him into the water. It's not like you were going to drown.
The treasure hoarders always move in groups, and fighting back when you're outnumbered isn't usually an option. It's no surprise that they quickly overpowered Captain Wu.
Captain Kaeya, please, there's no need for you to try to save face for me like this. I already owe you so much. You don't have to do anything more. Yet, despite that, I somehow only ended up humiliating myself further. Oh, there's no point in me trying to save face now. They tossed me into the water to humiliate me, and to use it as leverage to get my wife to pay up. But they didn't know that I could swim. What I'd intended was to pretend to drown, then sneak back onto shore while they weren't looking, and find a way to... That was before Captain Kaeya appeared out of nowhere and saved the day. So then I figured I'd get out of the water, get dressed, and catch up with you. But God knows what they did with my clothes. I couldn't find them anywhere. By the time I gave up looking for them, you were most of the way to the winery, so I had to run after you with nary a thing on my...
Outrageous!
So, what happened next?
I made it to the winery, but the maids noticed me first, and they called the Lord of the Manor out to give me the beating the treasure hoarders never got around to. After my wife recovered consciousness, she had to have a long talk with the young lord to explain everything. He then escorted us both safely to Stonegate.
Oh, Wu, I'm sorry, but...
Ugh, good luck living that one down.
Trust me, I know. My wife never lets me forget.
I'm sorry, Captain. I wasn't intending to share that story.
It's fine. It's my own fault for thinking I could sweep it under the carpet and forget about it. I don't know if I can ever repay you for all you've done. That's why I get so embarrassed every time I run into you. Still, it won't stop me from trying. You and your friend are here to catch the storyteller, right? The tea's on me. It's the least I can do. In fact, they do serve some food here, too, but it's not the best. Okay, let me run and get some fruit to share. I'll be right back.
I wonder how much Fan...
Oh, poor Wu.
He really didn't have to share all the details of that story. But since he didn't see... I did actually forget at first. But once he brought up his daughter, D-Luke thought some pervert was harassing the maids. He charged straight out the door, great sword in hand and raring to go. I haven't seen him so angry in a long time. So many people owe me favors nowadays. It's hard to keep track of them all. Hey, you didn't think I was being serious, did you? Do I really strike you? I just helped the guy out on a couple of occasions because I happened to be in the right place at the right time. I have no intention of asking him to do anything for me in return. At least, not so far.
I'm back with fruit. Please, help yourself.
Thank you.
Oh, don't mention it. Once my new pharmaceutical business takes off and I have Mora to spare, I'll get you...
Pharmaceutical business. So you found a new career?
Shipping's impossible work nowadays. There's too much competition. I'm going to become a partner of Boo Boo Pharmacy and provide funding for a... It's specially formulated to treat seasonal joint and limb pain. If you didn't know, it's a very common health complaint among sailors, but also extremely... I've suffered from it myself, which is why I know that a lot of people stand to benefit from this. It's a good cause and a stable source of income. Whichever way you look at it, it's a step up from the back-breaking work I did before. I've already had some talks.
That's impressive, Wu. I wouldn't have thought you had the connections for something like that. So is it Dr. Baiju?
Oh no, not Dr. Baiju. Actually, it was his master, Dr. Baifudze. His medical expertise, and he gave me a few of his traditionally formulated bone-strengthening pills.
Dr. Baiju's master.
Yeah, I told him I'd be enthusiastically recommending his medicine to the other guys at the... He said that he shouldn't really be handing out free prescriptions since, and I quote, "It goes against generations of tradition handed down by our..."
But I got chatting with Dr. Baiju recently when the Secure Transport Agency did a delivery for Boo Boo Pharmacy. He told me that his master has already passed away.
Huh? Why would he say something like that? I mean, the guy's old, but he's still in great health.
Captain Wu, where did you meet this old master?
Just out on the street? I know that sounds dubious, but this is an
Hold on a second. I just remembered something. My nephew-in-law met a medicine seller not too long ago. He spent a lot of Mora on it, but when he brought it to Boo Boo Pharmacy, Herbalist Gui took one look. This Baifudze you met. Did he by any chance have a go-
He did.
If I may, Captain Wu, there's a lot of Mora involved here. It seems like it would be worth asking this Dr. Baiju about his master.
You're right, Captain Kaeya. A quick trip to Boo Boo Pharmacy, and I can get Dr. Baiju to clear all of this up.
He left in a hurry. He must be stressed out of his mind right now.
Hey, let him deal with this, okay? No point in you stressing yourself out, too. I'm no Dark Knight hero. Or, wait, where are you? Now that I think about it, I could either way. Liyue has its own... We came here to enjoy...
It is said that the sky's the limit, yet fate fortuitous found...
Is that all? Huh. It was all right.
Oh, I see the show is over. Yeah, I saw Dr. Baiju.
Then what are you waiting for? Don't just stand there. You need to report this to the ministry.
Hold on. Let's not lose our cool. Get your story straight first, so you can give them a clear and...
Well, I'd arranged to meet him at the Yunsheng Tea House once I've withdrawn the next sum of Mora.
Okay, so you've got another meeting lined up.
I've got no one to blame but myself for this. I can't believe... Young lady, you're a good person, and I'm touched by your words of comfort. The consequences are mine alone to bear. At my age, I'm sure...
It's obvious, isn't it? He needs to report the case to the Ministry of Civil Affairs. Come with me. I am quite curious. How does our chivalrous marshal up? There are countless victims of injustice in the world. Oh, I'm surprised. I'm genuinely flattered. But we both know that I'm not that kind of person, really. Your logic is very straightforward, but I like how you think. Captain Wu, how would you feel about owing me...
I'm sorry, Captain Kaeya?
Let's say, hypothetically speaking, I found a way to recover your Mora that would leave the man... If it could be done, and the only cost was owing me yet another favor. What would you say?
What exactly are you getting at?
The Traveler here is adamant that you should ask me for another favor. Personally, I blame the storyteller. After the inspiring tale...
Captain Kaeya, young lady,
All right. Now here... All right. Then it's settled. Ah, you're here. Good. I'll head upstairs first, and you join me. You've got nothing to worry about. As long as this lucky coin's in my hands, before I toss the coin, I'll get our guy to bet heads or tails. Then it's your turn to bet. Now remember, if I touch my chin, you bet heads. If I touch my forehead, you go for tails.
Hello. Are you waiting for someone? As long as you follow the rules of the tea house, you're welcome here. Please be our guest.
From the way you describe it, Liyue does sound like an attractive place to... All that awaits me back in Mondstadt is a horde of insufferable sycophants. Truly tedious. The reason I left...
I understand. For one as ambitious as yourself, Mr. Rich, living off of the family fortune must feel like the dullest existence.
What are you doing? It's common courtesy to introduce yourself. Can't you see we got here first? They're running out of tables, huh? Looks like this location's getting too small for them. Very well, I'll make an exception for you this one time. Let's hope.
So, my friend, what's your name?
Here is the tea that you ordered. Please enjoy.
Ugh, this tea is... never mind. Mr. Bai, this has been a most pleasant and insightful conversation. I consider it good fortune that I encountered such a refined gentleman as yourself.
Yes, good fortune indeed. In that case, I must thank you for your generosity.
You there. I'll get yours too. Oh, you can't tell? My family's lived in Mondstadt for generations. The sights of Liyue Harbor are rather spectacular. That would be quite nice. If the family would spare me a little loose change, I could even invest in an antique shop or two. And the point of life is to enjoy yourself.
Mr. Rich, just to clarify, that's quite a large sum of mora as far as the common...
The name's Albert. Surname Rich. But only the servants in the house address me as Mr. Rich. Now that we're so well acquainted, Mr. Bai, please just call me Albert.
Albert does have a nice ring to it. It is my...
You flatter me. What say you to acting as my guide during my time in Liyue? I'll pay you handsomely, of course.
No need, my good friend. I shan't be so vulgar as to take your mora. We're both men of character. The pleasure of your ongoing acquaintance. To join a noble gentleman on his travels is a rare opportunity.
You there. You're welcome to join us if you want. Which clan did you say you were with? Guhua, huh? Strange choice of name. Gotta say, I've been in Liyue for a while.
Yes, well, there are many martial arts clans and factions in Liyue.
Ha, fair enough. Still, weird name. Bet they have some even... Seriously, though, what kind of skills do you guys train anyway? It's all for show, right? I saw some people perform... I already told the server to put it on my tab. Don't bother getting her to split the bill. It'll only complicate things.
Young lady, there's no need to take things so seriously. Why don't you loosen up and enjoy the free drink?
Are you trying to make a point by throwing my generosity back in my face? All right then. What if I say your bill is mine?
Please, my friends, let's not get so worked up. Yinchang Tea House, you young people have hot tempers, I understand that. But there's no need to
Did I hear that right? So you'll only pay for yourself if you win, but I'll get the check for the three of us if you lose. It's not that I care about... No, what I find truly absurd is your refusal to play fair. I demand that you also pay for... Fine. You can have your apology if you win, but on one condition. We'll do the best of three.
Well, as long as you're no longer raring to fight. Peace begets...
Why do you join us, Mr. Bai? Let's entertain this gal for a sec. We don't want her to think you're still...
But I wasn't even a part of your argument.
What are you trying to say, Mr. Bai? Whose side are you on here?
Of course, I'm on,
And anyway, it's no big deal if you win. It's just a few cups of tea after all, so you can just take it from your fees as my guide.
All right then. I suppose it's not all that different from the dice gambling games I used to play and...
All right, now we're talking. Okay, now that we've agreed on the rules, how should we do this coin toss? After all, a Mora coin looks the same on both sides. Well, that should be simple enough. Here, I'll take this coin and ask the counter to draw...
Young lady, I can see that you haven't spent many years in... I, too, only met this Mondstadt millionaire by complete chance today. But we're getting along just fine. I actually came here to meet with a business partner to count the cash from 2 recent investments. In the real world, you've got to keep up appearances. There's no need. You young people are much too impulsive.
Just so we're clear, let's say the marked side is heads, and the unmarked side is tails. Everyone has to pick a side before the coin toss. But we should also take turns tossing the coin.
Sounds fair to me. Why don't you do the first toss, Albert?
All right then, I'll start us off. Here we... Oh, wait. I nearly forgot to collect everyone's bets. Mr. Bai, heads or tails?
I suppose the choice is...
Let me think. I'll also go with tails. What about you? Heads or tails?
Oh, darn, I won. Lucky me, I guess.
I won as well. Guess there might be a formal apology in the cards after all. I have a suggestion. If one of us loses twice in a row, they should get knocked out. I flipped the coin last time, so why don't you go next?
Now just wait a second, mine.
Oh?
You are both young, and I've already seen your short tempers for myself. If Albert loses this round, and this young lady wins, you'll be tied. And before you know it, you'll be at each other's throats again. Well, that's not my only in dice games. If Albert wins, if that happens, only for a purely hypothetical scenario, of course. But one that I'd be...
Very diligent of you indeed, Mr. Bai. Looks like I chose...
A rigged coin will always...
What's your bet this time, Mr. Bai?
I'll stick with tails.
Tails, huh? Well, you seem to have a feel for this, so I...
Well, my luck's still just about holding out. The three of us are now tied.
Mm-hmm. Well, here you go.
It's a tough...
That's what makes it fun, isn't it? Anyway, there's no need to stress.
You make a good point. All right, I'll take heads.
Okay, and now it's my turn to guess. Not that the outcome matters either way to me. I won't...
Why did it have to be heads? This whole thing started because you two got into a spat. What's it?
Sure, why not? I'm having fun. I can go for as many rounds as you want. What a miserly person.
But Albert, all the fun...
Oh, come on now. No need to walk on eggshells here. Let's keep it simple, shall we? If you guess right, I pick up the tab. But if you guess wrong, I'm afraid it's still...
Sure, that's exact...
Well, here's the coin. You can... Wouldn't it defeat the whole purpose of betting if you guessed the same as me? This is a two-person game now.
All right. It all comes down to luck. After all, I'll take tails. Ooh, looks like Rex Lapis has smiled upon me today after all. Thank you for the tea, Albert.
Look at you getting so giddy over some chump change. It's like you've never gambled with real money before, my old man. That's a real rush.
Well, in that case...
Sure. Let's up the stakes a little this time. Shall we say 50,000?
Oh, maybe that's a little on the high side.
What, 50,000? But that's just a single day's guide pay for you.
All right. I'll bet tails.
Great, then I'll bet heads. No takebacks. Heads.
Tails. Oh, how unfortunate. I shouldn't have gotten greedy. Albert, I'm terribly sorry, but as it happens, I forgot to bring my coin.
Advance payment? Sorry, I'm afraid that's not my style. It'll have to be cash.
This day, just getting better and better. Well, so be it.
Just 50,000? That's not what we agreed on.
Huh? What are you talking about?
No, it wasn't. The amount was 1 million.
1 million? Are you insane? Come on now, Albert.
I'm being perfectly serious. I know what I said, and...
You're lying through your teeth. Hey, young lady, you tell him. Huh? What the? I'm not deaf, you know. Oh, I see. I never met either of you before today, and out of nowhere you suddenly roped me into betting over. Huh? Do you have any idea who you're trying to cheat? I know. Well, don't you try to celebrate just yet. Do you really think that nobody else will have heard? Frauds! Frauds, I say! These two kids are trying to scam me out of my...
How pathetic.
What is going on here? If you can't abide by our rules, you're not welcome at Yanshang Tea House. I don't care what the issue is. You don't get to...
Wait, don't throw me out! These two can...
Well, let's take this somewhere else. I don't want any of you disturbing the other guests. Okay, you two. Care to explain yourselves?
Gladly. He's making up completely spurious claims. We were betting he won 250,000 from me, then another 800,000 from the both of us. Now he's refusing to pay up the measly 50,000.
Okay, so after settling up, a total of 1 million mora should have changed hands?
Oh, it's a complete pack of lies. Hostess, if you don't believe me, ask anyone else.
Sorry to interrupt you all, but you're witnesses to the situation here. Is what Mr. Bai says true?
Oh, thank goodness you're finally here. What took you so long? That old guy's been bragging about the mora he's won so loudly.
Leave me out of this. I want...
Our new owner laid down the law. Return any winning...
Why should I have to give them?
Oh, but I think you do.
You!
Halberd! Fang!
Please don't.
This was never your mora to begin with. We'll be returning it to its rightful owner now. What did you think, Captain Wu? Could you...
Yes, everything.
Woo. Along with that blonde one. I know where you live. And I know what your wife looks like. And your pretty little daughter, too.
Who'd be scared of a crook like you? I'll take you on any day of the week.
Well, let's see how long that false bravado...
Oh, look at that. He figured it out. Guess he's not as dumb as we...
Don't you two get cocky either. Just you...
My apologies for having to leave this question until you'd vacated the premises. But I couldn't have things escalate. I noticed that all the guests on the second floor were present before you took your seats. Then left. Would I be correct in saying you were looking to set this man up?
Wait, so you saw through it right away?
Under normal circumstances, we would never tolerate a scheme like this take. However, I understand that our owner holds the traveler in high regard and must have good reasons for their actions. Still...
Ah, as I thought. When you're operating on someone else's turf, you run the risk of clashing with the master of the house. Over to you, brave hero. You're the one with the connections in Liyue.
Okay. I understand the situation now. It goes without saying that I have no wish to stand in the...
Well, Captain Wu, remember what I promised you? What do you think? Angry?
Excuse me, coming through.
Yes, that's him all right.
Wait! Where's your evidence? And Wu, you've already...
You can't talk your way out of this one. You're already suspected of defrauding multiple victims out of smaller amounts, and the combined total meets the threshold for a conviction. If it turns out you're guilty, does the plaintiff have any witnesses? If so, we'd really appreciate if they could come with us and You got tangled up in this too, huh? In that case, please come with me. Your witness statements will play a crucial role. Don't worry, we won't take up too much...
Hey, keep your hands off me!
Thank you so much, the both of you.
Well, I have an idea.
Let me think.
Sounds fun to me.
Time to go. Follow the wind.
Well, this was certain... You still need some practice to master. My answer would be that I tell the coin a joke every time I toss it into the air. Of course, this whole arrangement hinges on a pre-existing amount of trust between the two of us. I can't just get any strange coins. Yeah, I was a little surprised when he unwittingly called out our trick coin. A good gambler always keeps their options open. You have to have a so when I went to the counter, that safely but hey, what does it matter? The fact that he made, especially listening to him warn us about the possibility of a rigged coin right as we were scamming him. Now, as long as I chose the same bet as him, and you bet the opposite to me, it was always going to end up with him paying. Unless, of course, he'd had some other tricks up his sleeve that we hadn't thought of. Then things would have...
You two are genuinely the smartest people I've ever met. Well, I may not be... We were just ordinary. If there's anything I can ever do for you in the future...
Oh? You seem agitated. There are two kinds of people who owe me favors. One is my friend. My informants have to fulfill whatever requests I make of them. No questions asked. Ah, and you're torn again. Too afraid to ask to be my friend, but also, well, it's okay. Because I just thought of a fun and easy way to get us out. This is the regular coin I prepared for the contingency plan when I was borrowing a pen from the bar. If it's heads, we're friends. But if it's tails, you're at my beck and call. May the Lord of Geo decide.
So, was it heads?
What do you think? What does your heart tell you?
I understand now. You have my most sincere gratitude. No, that's a little too formal. What I'm trying to say is... Here.